Well, everyone, welcome back to the very long-awaited part 3. Are we only on part 3? God, we're only on part 3. Part 3 of how to put a supercharged 3800 into your Chevy S10. Or just making a supercharged 3800 front engine rear-wheel drive, for that matter. This video took a long time to make. I started this video literally 6 months ago. 6 or 5 months ago, something like that. And the entire point of this video revolves around the supercharger right here, modifying the supercharger. Because keep in mind, this is a front-wheel drive vehicle. We need to modify the supercharger so the throttle body is now over here and not back here. I took this to the guy who welded it up for me. I took it to him the first week of December, and he said that he'd get to it after the new year. And you know, it was harvest season still. He was finishing up some stuff. He had a lot of stuff going on. So unfortunately, he didn't get to it until March or so, late March. But even if he would have gotten to it right away, there's another thing that kind of held me back. And you'll actually see what that reason is in the video. So I'm going to keep it a little bit of a surprise. But there is another reason that this video took so long. So, yeah, the main point of this video was just modifying the supercharger here. And, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy and stay tuned to the end of the video because I have more stuff to talk about. So enjoy. Alright, so here is the supercharger. As you can see, this is where your throttle body goes. And then the firewall would also be right here. So there's just not a lot of room. On the Australian supercharger housings, they do have the cast bend into it. So it literally just starts to bend right here. And the flange is right here. However, those are expensive and shipping would be insane. On my other social media like TikTok or whatever, I had a lot of people that were saying just buy an Australian housing. And my reply is, are you going to buy it for me? So unless you are going to buy me a Gen 5 blower Australian housing, I don't want to hear that I can buy an Australian housing. Okay? Thank you. So yes, we are going to just kind of disassemble this. We are going to take out the blowers inside. And then as you can see, I did also start kind of polishing it up. That was with a steel wire brush though. And then like I said, I have some brass ones. So yeah, let's get to disassembling and then we might even start cutting up the back of this. So yeah, let's do it. All right, so I'm just taking this stuff off now. And this is for your boost bypass, which I'm going to be deleting because I want all the boost all the time. But you see that piece, right? It sits like that. If you flip it all the way over, and then it slides out like that. Okay, so we got all the bolts out here, as always, bagging and tagging. Got all the bolts off the front. I decided to put this back on because I didn't know what it was, and I don't want to lose it, and we got that there. I think I have to undo this bolt. I know this is how you change the pulley. Oh, I'm so smart. I was like, how do you take this off? I can't figure it out. And I was like, what if I just hit it a bunch? And it started to separate. Ah, look at me go. Okay, also I did drain some of the oil, but not all of it. So don't drink that because that's supercharger oil. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's separating into 2 different places. Yeah, I'm gonna put the camera down for a second. Okay, so just got the front of this off. Try to drain the oil a little better. There's a lot more in there than what you think. I think it's right about 5 ounces. So that, and then I'm watching a YouTube video from Toys for Life. He does a lot of stuff with the 3800. Because he has one in his Fiero, so I'm watching him put his back together. I'm going to link his videos down below, but very helpful. But one thing he literally just said is, put this somewhere safe, don't touch it, don't try to clean it, leave it the way it's meant to be. You don't want to try to clean the carbon up or anything. None of that. You also don't want to take any of this apart, I'm pretty sure, because the bearings inside and the way this is timed, like, you don't want to do that. So I am going to clean this up, tape it off, because this needs to be polished as well. I would like to polish that, and then put that somewhere very safe. And then coming over here, this is the coupler. It's a plastic coupler. You can see the pins here that go to the snout, and then you can see the holes for these pins. Mine looks good, really good, but you can buy this part brand new on Rock Auto for like 10 bucks. So if yours is broken, oh, dropped my camera. If yours is broken, very easy fix. I do, however, need to figure out how to take this off. We're going to cut the back of the supercharger right here, and then again right here at a 45-degree angle, and then weld that pipe on. So that's what we're going to do there. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the flange off right here, just straight down, so I have that to bolt onto the throttle body. And then I'm going to cut basically here at a 45-degree angle. I'm assuming you guys probably can't even see that. No, you cannot. Cut here at a 45. Maybe I literally just explained this. I don't know. Put a 45 to give me that extra bend because I'm not going to have any firewall problems. And then this is actually a vacuum port intake for just vacuum shenanigans. So I don't want to cut into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the cut with a bandsaw. The only problem is the bandsaw is not wide enough. But I'm going to start the cut, and then I'm going to, once that's down a little bit, get my Sawzall with a long blade and very slowly just go all the way down. This is aluminum. It shouldn't be too hard to cut. That being said, I am a little nervous. So, yeah, but it's not like I can't go to a junkyard and get a new supercharger for like 60 bucks. So, yeah, anyway. That took so much longer than I thought it was going to. That's really hot. Wow, I thought I was going to be able to cut through that like butter. No, not at all. Just no. And oh my God, look how bad that cut is. Wow. That took me literally a half an hour to cut through. Literally a half an hour. It's not pretty by any means. However, that is okay because now we are going to make the 45-degree cut here. And what I think I'm going to do is literally just right here where my finger is, if that will focus, thank you, right here, and then just follow right along here. All right, got that cut off. That ain't bad. I'm a little concerned about how, because you see I was following here. You see how that's kind of flat right there, but I bet you that could be fixed fairly easily. Other than that, it ain't bad. It ain't good, but it ain't bad. I think we'll be good. It looks really good. I'm really impressed with how it turned out. So as you can clearly see, we got this back on the engine. The coolant ports, I'm actually going to tap and thread with NPT fittings, flush fittings. So don't need to worry about that. So we'll deal with that maybe in this episode, and I'll explain why later because I may have screwed up something big with the intake manifolds. Anyway, so now come over here and take the aluminum pipe, and again this is 16 gauge aluminum pipe, 180-degree bend. This was $50. What you're looking at, 50 bucks. I'm going to make it flush with the engine, and then I'm also going to bend it out a little bit and maybe down so the throttle body is just kind of out of the way of everything. And yeah, so I'm going to put this down so I can mark where I need to cut, and then I'll show you guys how I did that. Just beautiful. Just perfect. Not quite flush with the back of the engine, but pretty dang close. So I really don't think I'm going to have any clearance issues. I will... I'm just realizing how short my hood is, because again, it's on a Corvair frame, or in a Corvair body, so I can't have that too far up out of the way. I was also thinking if I need to, I can take the other piece right there, and kind of cut it, and just kind of bend the throttle body out of the way, but this doesn't look bad. I'm actually really pleased with how this turned out. All right, everyone, it is currently March 12th. And as you can see, the supercharger is back, but it's not done. The guy welding the supercharger just tacked everything into place and was like, hey, come get it, take it home, dry fit it, we'll see if it fits. And I almost just said, no, just weld it, get it over with. And I'm so glad I didn't do that, because I would have been so screwed. Now, keep in mind, this isn't going technically in a S10. It's going on an S10 frame, but it's a Corvair body, and a Corvair body sits significantly lower than a S10 does. My firewall, I measured everything. This is all perfect. This is not. And even when I designed this, I was like, I don't know about this. Look how high that sits. I was thinking I was going to have problems with the supercharger interfering with the hood. If I'm having problems with that, I'm going to have problems with this, right? And that's without the throttle body on it. So let's get the throttle body on, and you'll be able to see just what kind of clearance issues I'm talking about, right? So we line this back up. Look at that. That sits so high, so in the way of just everything. So, yeah, I'm so glad, so thankful the welder was like, hey, come get this and dry fit it. So, yeah. So, what I'm going to do, because I have this scrap piece here, is I'm going to cut this more straight, put it like that, and then and then have the flange like here-ish, right? And then the throttle body will be basically right in this area. And then I can, that won't be in the way of the headers or anything. The only thing it would maybe be in the way is my heater core lines, but I can honestly just run those a different way, so I'm really not concerned about that. So, yeah, very, very thankful right now that he did not weld that solid. Personally, if I was you guys, I would not do any of this stuff until you have the engine in the car, just for clearance issues. So yeah, ooh, man. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so I just FaceTimed my dad because he's at work, right? And I was showing him what I was doing and like where the throttle body was at, and he was like, "Why do you have it all the way down there? Like, why don't you just mount it right here?" And I was like, "That's such a good idea. Why didn't I think of that?" And I have the fuel rail installed, so I'm not going to have any clearance issues. I'll literally just take this, cut it just a little so I can still have the flange, and it'll just be like that. And I'm going to angle it down a little. You know, I need to keep it lower than the supercharger. And yeah, literally, like, I'm kind of mad at myself, but shout out to you, Dad. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, honestly. I'm just going to quick cut that then, and we'll go there. Not to mention, with the wiring, if it was all the way like down here, I would have had to probably extend my wires for the sensors and stuff here, but if it's all the way up here, I don't think I'll have to. So yeah, cool. I feel so much better about that. Alrighty, here's the final design. Just like that. Sits just a tad bit higher than the alternator, but I think we will be okay. And yeah, so we'll mark that where it needs to be, and we'll take it back to the welder, and hopefully he can get to it today. So that is the quick update, and hopefully by the time I am back, all of this will be done. Well, everyone, it has been a while since I last recorded. I last recorded when I had gotten the supercharger fully modified. I don't even think I filmed that. I think I might have. The guy who welded it finished welding it. Yeah, that's that basically. Did I say the price? Because one thing I want to make sure on this project is I'm going to be completely transparent with everyone watching about the price of everything. This work here was $220, which is very expensive. But he was the only one in the area that could really do it, and I think he did a good job. And he himself said, I didn't stack dimes, but I don't really care about the way it looks as long as it holds up, and I feel that this is going to hold up. So there's that. That was part of the reason this video is taking so long. The other reason this video took so long to come out is I painted my other Corvair. I said that basically I can't do this engine swap until this car is painted. And look, it's painted. So now that this is painted, we've been letting it cure for over a month now. And it's definitely curing. We haven't cut or buffed it yet, so you can definitely see a lot of orange peel. But the orange peel isn't bad. But anyway, this car is finally painted, so that's really exciting. The light does something weird. The paint, it looks really brown on camera, and I don't know why, but it's actually like Hugger orange. What just happened? That was weird. That was weird. This is a 1969 GM Hugger orange. For some reason, it looks really brown on camera, and sometimes it looks really red on camera, but it's orange. What is happening right now? Anyway, now that this is done, the whole point of this video is done, we can finally start reassembling some stuff. But we're not quite there yet. Alrighty, it has been quite a day. Been doing a bunch of work, moving some cars around, getting projects lined up that we're going to be working on, and the sun is going to set here in about an hour. It's about 7:30 or so, and the last thing I want to do for the night is get this pulley pulled off this supercharger, so tomorrow I can take this off and I can start working on this, so I can finally get this stupid video done, because this video is the bane of my existence. Anyway, we're gonna go and get my brand new ZZP pulley puller. All right, so we got this all assembled. This is called the horseshoe. You can see there's like a groove in there, and that goes around the pulley. I'm guessing because mine's a 3.6 pulley. See the 3.8 there? Groove. I'm guessing it's supposed to match a 3.8. And then bolts go like here. There's a bolt here, and you can see the way the aluminum is cut out there. So it will kind of lock into there. And then they also recommended using anti-seize, just this stuff. And then they also said don't forget about the washer in there as well. So I have my crescent wrench to grab onto the bolt there because I don't have a wrench big enough. And then I also have this and this. I'm going to do it by hand. If that doesn't work, then we will break out this guy. I'm hoping, because this is not a stock pulley, I'm hoping that because this has obviously been replaced, someone has already had this off before. I'm hoping it comes off fairly easy. So we'll see. I don't want to put any heat on here. You can. I've heard of people doing that, but I don't want to mess up the bearings in the end of the snout. So I'll try to set up my camera best I can. I don't have my tripod out here, but we'll see what happens. Bear with me. You're leaning up against the box. I'm not even gonna lie, I already started cracking this loose before I started recording, so it's already coming loose. Yeah. Alrighty, got the snout off. Yeah, looks pretty good other than that piece right there. Little concerning, but I don't think it affected the bearings or anything. So now I just have some brake clean. Sorry, someone in a crappy Dodge just drove by. I have some brake clean that I'm going to just kind of clean this up with. Some stuff came in the mail. This is just a really cheap NPT plug flush mount $10 variety kit from like Amazon or whatever, and we need these to plug the coolant ports on the intake manifold for the supercharger there. So these are 1/4-inch NPT plugs. Obviously, I need to get a NPT tap, that's what I'm trying to say, and then make these flush so we don't have coolant shooting out. What that's for is it just heats up the air going into the intake manifold. It's mainly used for like when you're driving your car and it's like negative like 30 degrees out or something like that. So that's what those are for. The way I cut mine, would just have coolant shooting out. So we got 2 there. So we're going to take off the intake manifold to get these plastic gaskets out of here so I can swap them out with my aluminum ones. And when we do that, that's when we will do this. So we got this all taken apart. I got the old stuff off. Got these really cheap, flimsy plastic intake manifolds. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit because of the RTV. Careful with the razor blade so you don't scratch the mating surfaces or anything. And then we're going to drill out the NPT fittings for the coolant passageway, the coolant blockage. And then we'll start putting everything back together with my new intake manifolds. My dad helped me out because I was struggling, so shout out to you, Dad. That just threads in literally no problem. Keep in mind that is NPT, so it will not bottom out, but it will like eventually stop. So I got most of the shavings out of here. I'm gonna blow this out quick, and then red Loctite the crap out of that. And then I also took my little ruler here and just drug it along the top to make sure that those were flush with the bottom lip there so they didn't interfere with the supercharger. And that looks good. Now with this, keep in mind this is your EGR valve. This doesn't go anywhere in here. It literally goes down 90 degree out right here. You could tap this if you want to. Someone said it was 3/8. It most certainly is not 3/8. That's at least 1/2 inch. After going through what we just went through here, I'm not going to tap that. That can stay like that. I don't care. It's not like I'm running my EGR. Alrighty. Just like that, modular hub is installed. I went in a star pattern. You don't need to go super tight, but definitely get them snug. And then mine came with this like plastic piece that kind of inserts there. However, it gives it the effect that it's not on there straight, but trust me, it's on there straight. So, all right, I am back. It is the next day. I lost motivation, and then I went and saw the new Furiosa Mad Max movie. Not as great as Fury Road. That one's still my favorite, but still good, and it gave me motivation to continue working on this. I forgot that my dad polished this yesterday, and I'm really digging this. So I think in the future I'll probably get it polished because I think that'd look cool. Anyway, I picked this stuff up, anaerobic gasket maker. Unfortunately, this is the only stuff they had. They didn't have it in a big container. So I'm really hoping these two that were like $8 a piece is enough for the supercharger, because my goal is to have this put back together today. So let's get to it. I don't think it'll be much because they didn't really have a gasket on this from the factory, maybe a little bit around the threads here, but it was just machined metal to machined metal. So I don't think I'm going to need much. All right, we got everything cleaned up. I got all the dust cleaned off this for the most part. Might be a little residual dust, but a little dust in your engine never hurt anybody. So now let's talk about porting. Everyone's going to say, oh, you have your supercharger off, you should port it right now. I'm not going to, because, I mean, I want to in the future, but mostly time restrictions. Another thing you can do is you can basically, this like gusset here and here, you can basically continue this straight line down to here and then over, and then the bolts that go in there, you just have to shorten up. And that helps with flow quite a bit. I'm not sure if you'd really want to open all of this up. I've never really heard of anyone doing that because, well, I don't know. I'm assuming it probably doesn't have the greatest performance increase. And then right here are your silencer ports. These are basically what take away from the really cool whining sound. And what you can do is you can get some aluminum that fits that perfectly and basically like lay down a few beads here and close those up. And that makes your supercharger go from like quiet to that really traditional supercharger whining sound. And I really want to do that because I like being obnoxious. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do that this time right now, again, because of constrictions on time. Now, the other controversial part is I am not changing the bearings on here. These superchargers are really tough. They're really hard to kill. And so I was talking to a friend of mine who did the exact same swap in his S10, and he said he didn't do it. He was like, these are really hard to kill. They're great superchargers. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take that and run. So I'm not going to change the bearings on here yet. The day comes that I weld up the silencer ports, maybe port this a little bit, I will do a full rebuild on the bearings, getting new ones. It's just, yeah, so that's my controversial thing is I'm not going to be changing the bearings. And make sure you always read instructions because it says apply continuous bead of sealant to one surface. So I only did it to the housing. Now I'm going to do it to here. Don't forget about your supercharger coupling. This is a brand new piece that I got from Rock Auto. All right, so I was using Toys for Life. He's a YouTube channel that I follow who has a 3800 in his Fiero. I was using his video for reference, and he did crisscross patterns starting at 5 foot-pounds, 12 foot-pounds, finishing off at 17 foot-pounds, and then going around one more time at 17 foot-pounds to make sure everything was torqued properly. So we got that at 17 foot-pounds there. So there's that. Wow, the supercharger is back together. That's awesome. I need to do some cleanup work because I got some of that stuff on there, the anaerobic gasket maker. I bought 2 of these. I only needed 1. I did a small bead around the entire supercharger, and then with a glove, I like smeared it out and covered the entire thing. And then anything that kind of squished over the edge inside, I wiped out with a rag because I didn't want any of that inside the supercharger or the gear housing or anything like that. So I only needed 1 container, and I still have plenty of this left. One more thing I forgot to mention, of course, make sure your flanges are clean, and then with very, very light pressure, I took some 600 grit and just scuffed up the mating surfaces. Very light pressure. That's all I did, just the mating surfaces, and then bolted it all together. So there's that. So without further ado, I need to clean up this mess so I can find the bypass valve. All right, got everything cleaned up here. So we insert this guy into here. And then I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed. I'm also noticing these are offset. So I assume probably goes like that. So you turn it like that, get a pliers, slide him in there, and then you can see the screws go there. I'm going to put some Loctite on these, probably blue, maybe red, I don't know. We'll figure it out. These are like squished down from factory. You see that? I got a little bit of rag on there, but they're like squished down. So, all right, we got that all put on there for the most part. Now we are going to torque everything in a specific pattern to 17 foot-pounds of torque, which does not sound like much, but okay. I'll put a graphic up on the screen of the torque sequence that we are going in. I'm probably going to go like 5, 12, 17, like what I did with the front of the supercharger there as well. So let's get that torqued on. Now time to install the fuel rail. Now, I think this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I hate looking at it. It's disgusting, but I'm going to install it. What I want to do is I want to get the ZZP fuel logs that just sit so nicely tucked down below But they're really expensive. They're like $200 and some. So we're going to go with these. I'm going to take the injectors off and clean them up. Probably just give this entire thing a quick cleanup. And then we can attach to this. I already know that this will fit very snug with my adapter there. However, if it doesn't fit, then I'm about to spend $200 on new fuel rails, and we're going to make it fit. So, let's do that quick. I cleaned up the injectors pretty good, took them all out. There was still gas in here, which is crazy because it's been out for like 6 months. And in the like 2 minutes that I was working on this, I was like, I hate everything about this, how this all looks. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy those fuel logs here soon. But I am going to install this just for the time being because I want to get these earplugs out of there. So I'm going to clean all around there and then get those earplugs out and make sure nothing falls in there, and then we'll be good to go. All right, we got that bolted back on, and there is clearance there. So that is good. So I will be able to run these for a while until I basically am like, okay, I'm ready to buy this expensive thing. So that's cool. I think this is the intake one, like fuel in, and this is the return. All right. The video is done. We're just calling it done. If you haven't noticed in the video, I kind of skipped a bunch of stuff. This video was going to be, if I would have left everything in, an hour and 47 minutes long, because I ended up just filming so much. Like I filmed installing my oil filter housing. I had to do some work to the oil pan. Like I filmed so much stuff, and I was like, that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is this right here. I was even going to film myself polishing this, but I was like, that's not the point of the video. So here we are. The video is done. And that sucked. Everything about that sucked. This video really took it out of me. So the last thing we're going to do is my supercharger oil literally just arrived like 5 minutes ago. Here it is, AC Delco supercharger oil, 4 ounces. According to the manual, the official manual, this takes 8 ounces. So you need 2 of those. So I thought, let's fill this up and we'll look for leaking, and then that will be a good way to end the video. So I think we'll just quick get a funnel here, fill that up, and okay, yeah, sure enough, 8 ounces. Zoom in. You can see the oil right at the bottom of the threads right there. And that's what called for. So brand new oil, good to go. Now we can install the plug back in and wrap up this video. Okay, not seeing any leaks. Everything looks really good. Just spin that a little bit, get everything lubricated up in there. And yeah, there's one last thing we are going to do. Using the spare supercharger here and going off the back rib, we're going to chalk that up to 6 1/8, right about 6 1/8. Okay. Then we are going to measure the back of the throttle body, and we'll go 5 3/4. Okay, so that'd be 11, right about 12 inches. You know what? We're just going to round that up to 12 inches. So that used to stick to all the way back here. Right here is where the back of the throttle body would be. But now this only sticks out to about 7 inches. And I know the firewall is basically going to be right where this plate is. However, on the S10 firewall, there is an indent right there. So I don't think we're going to have any problems with clearance issues. I think we're good. So there's one more piece of advice I'm going to give you, and that is I would almost recommend waiting to do the supercharger modification until the engine is in your S10 or car or whatever you're putting it in. Because one thing that I cannot do is you're probably noticing a lack of mass air flow sensor and another sensor here. That's because where it bolts on right there and right there, I can no longer fit it there because of my throttle body position here. So I'm now going to have to custom fabricate those sensors somewhere else. So if I were you guys, I would probably wait until this is in the car. And secondly, yes, this is a lot of money. This was $225 to get this work done. It's a lot of money. I think you could probably find someone to do it cheaper. It's pretty simple work, and if you have an aluminum welder, you could probably do it yourself. So, yeah, there's that. That is how you modify a supercharger for a front-wheel drive application. So the next video, I got a bunch of stuff planned. I'm not going to lose motivation on this. I'm not going to lose momentum. We're going to get it done. So the next video will probably be removing the engine from the S10 plus engine bay modifications. And then after that, we will hook up the transmission and do probably the most important video, which is talking about the flywheel and stuff like that. And then we'll probably do a video on engine mounts, a video on wiring, video on cooling. Like, this is going to be a pretty straightforward install. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for holding out on me. I know this video took a long time, but we're almost there. We are almost ready to actually start the swap. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.